Hey there, YouTube!
You may or may not know, but I have always loved playing animal-themed games, and today I brought you some lost media stories that I'd love to share with you. Stellar Fox is a drawing puzzle game made by Roper Studio, and it is about a small stellar fox that fell from the sky and trying to find his way back to his mother. The game mechanic is pretty simple and unique at the same time, since you have to draw lines with stardust, which you are given a specific amount of, and the fox will roll down with simple physics to reach his goal. Alongside its mechanics, it had all kinds of extras implemented in updates, such as skins of different animals for the fox, and a level creator for all players to create and share their map ideas. It had 5 chapters total, and it seems parts of it are in fact up on the internet, such as its peaceful soundtrack and an APK file of the game. But if there's an APK file, why does it count as lost media? Well, I'm glad you asked. It's thanks to the iOS version. Despite the fact that the game seemed to have been doing quite well in around 2017 and releasing on Apple devices at around the same time, Stellar Fox is no longer in the purchase tab, and you can't really download it anywhere on iOS these days, while it would be compatible with today's newest devices as well. Fortunately, there is a bunch of gameplay footage, however, no trace of the IPA file at all. I vividly remember this game being on the App Store only for devices that were updated to iOS 11 or further. After a while of searching around for info on Stellar Fox, I came across Roper Studios' Reddit account, where they made sort of a Q&A post on their experience as starter game developers. All the info gives insight on what could have happened to the company and the game. Quoting their first Reddit post, "We at Roper Studio were only a couple of artists as of last June 2016. We decided to pick up programming and started making a game and finally released this January 2017. After 3 weeks, it got featured on Google Play front page in Korea and is currently 2nd place in puzzle and 11th place overall in game category." According to the developers' answers, they were aiming to reach a global audience with the game, and the concept dates all the way back to 2009, which I think is super interesting. They even give a bit of context as to why they had to take their time with getting started. They also listed a couple of games that inspired Stellar Fox, such as Journey, Ori and the Blind Forest, and Monument Valley. All of them look like amazing games. I've only had the chance to try Journey and Monument Valley. Getting the game approved for an iOS release was taking time and effort for the developers, so the reason for its deletion might have been life getting in the way, the team disbanding, or simply moving on to new projects. Roper Studios doesn't exist anymore as they went out of business, but who knows, maybe some of the developers are still in the industry. I couldn't possibly cover every single piece of information on Stellar Fox since there's just so little of it online, so if you know any additional info or maybe still have the app downloaded on an iOS device, make sure to reach out and comment below. Neoniks is essentially a franchise for children's games and ebooks created in the early 2010s, and they also have this very mystical looking logo. It seems that their most advertised, if not only, ebook is Neoniks and Misty the Fox, written by the Russian author Elvira. It seems to be a pen name credited on the box, created specifically for the project. There's a surprising amount of information on the book and the games and apps alongside it. However, the files are unfortunately nowhere to be found on the internet. The story is about a young magician boy who creates his own pet fox from magic and willpower alone. Yes, we have another game with the white fox. how surprising. But she gets kidnapped when he brings her to school. The book used to be available on the iTunes store. All the elves use the world building and characters described within the Neoniks story. As written on the official site, Neoniks are magical people who live on Cake Island. When they turn 7, their parents cast the winged spell on them, and then the little ones can learn to sprout wings on their backs whenever they need them. The world building of Cake Island is super in-depth, and there are a bunch of descriptions of how everyday things and locations work. Only a small chapter of the story is still available to read online on the Wayback Machine, and it served as a teaser for the full book. A 2 minutes long official trailer is still up on YouTube to this day as well, uploaded by the user LBAce, and you can still Google it if you're interested in it. There are 8 Neoniks games in total, and you guessed it, none of them are archived anywhere as far as we know. The Neoniks website lists all of them with images, so we have a pretty clear image on what they looked like and how they could have been played. There we have a simple Christmas tree decorating game, another game that teaches multiplication with this nice birdhouse looking school art, and one of those popular talking games with Misty advertised with a very 2010s description. Baba the Flying Cat was essentially a Flappy Bird minigame, and there isn't much known about the gameplay of the Magic Labyrinth. There's also a Halloween card maker, a potion mixing game, and another vaguely described game. It seems that books alongside Neoniks and Misty the Fox have been teased, but unfortunately never been released. There are character profiles, and let's just take a moment to point it out. The stylization of these sort of fairy wings is lovely. Neoniks and Misty the Fox later released as an audiobook and a physical copy which could be ordered on the website. Personally, I haven't had the chance to read the book, but I always loved seeing Misty's design and all of the artwork included in this game. I'm curious if you've had this book, or maybe even still have the paperback book itself or files of its digital content. Comment and tell us about it, since I have never met anyone who actually read these books as a kid, and I'd love to hear it if any of you happen to remember it. It would be pretty awesome to uncover the full plot of this children's ebook, Lost to Time. One of my most exciting cases of personal lost media is If the Emotional IQ game. This edutainment RPG was completely removed from the App Store in around 2015 and used to be playable on 32-bit devices. There was a lot of simple RPG and Pokemon battle-like gameplay involved, as well as educational aspects and tools. It had 12 chapters total. As of right now, all except 2 counts as lost media. There are descriptions found about the paid content, however its files are nowhere to be found. I made the effort to ask around among the developers, and they do not own any of the game files either. The lost parts of the app could be restored through jailbreaking an old iOS device with the game still installed and archiving the file to be downloadable. However, the restoration team on Discord and I are still yet to find the full game. If this interests you, make sure to check out my other video on the game, where I went on a full deep dive on every single piece of information we know about Eve. And if you happen to own more than 2 of the chapters, or just have any nice memories or information to share, then feel free to comment about it. I'd love to hear it, and it would mean a lot to me and a bunch of other players to finally find Eve and uncover the mysteries of the remaining chapters. Kinectimals is a franchise that started its run on the Xbox Kinect and eventually got 2 mobile games to go with it, a paid one and a completely free-to-play one, but with in-app purchases, as many games did at the time and still do. Both have really nice semi-realistic backgrounds and animal animations. Kinectimals Unleashed is one of the games that has the most content out of any game previously released in the Kinectimals franchise, since it contains all the animals released in previous games, including the bears, and as new additions, several breeds of domesticated dogs. The funny thing is that it has all these dog breeds, but only has wild cats and big cat cubs, but no domesticated cats whatsoever. And I only realized that you could buy extra animals in Unleashed without paying real money when I revisited it years later. This game technically isn't lost, it can still be downloaded if you ever had it on your account, but its IPA files haven't been archived anywhere as far as I know. Kinectimals Unleashed can only run on certain 32-bit devices, not all of them. The code might have been a bit of a mess, honestly. And playing on an iPad 3 back when it was still out, parts of the UI and the text files seemed broken, and the obstacle course minigame wasn't playable. It was quite frustrating at the time. While downloaded on an iPhone 4S right now, it looks like this. This is so bad. It used to load properly, but now it doesn't even do that. Here we go. Buttons don't work, only the pose. Truly peak gaming. While Kinectimals Unleashed had a lot of strong points, according to some critics, the gameplay was too hard for a kids game thanks to the time challenges and for some of the minigames. In the first Kinectimals app, the same issues present in some of the pet trick challenges. I spent a good while playing it through, you know, the one that can actually run on my device, and it was surprisingly a good time. Nowadays, there are a whole lot of video games and apps being made, so some of them disappearing or getting shut down under the radar is often the reality of things. It can be so intriguing to look back on a random piece of media from my childhood and finding out it became lost media and wondering what happened to it. And that's about all I have to say. Make sure to like, comment about your lost media experiences and subscribe. And I'll see you another time.